Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Standley with Standley Handcraft, and today I wanted to talk about shipping candles in the hot months. Now this is a topic that comes up all the time, and I've honestly been waiting for a hot day so that I could actually make this video, do the test, and see what we can do to protect against candles basically melting inside of a hot truck or sitting on a porch in like Phoenix 110 degree weather for 5 or 6 hours. Now, quite honestly, there's not a whole lot of ways to really protect against some of this stuff, especially with certain waxes. Waxes like 4627 or a soy or more of a straight coconut wax are definitely more difficult just because they have such a low melt point, and especially with something like 4627 where it's almost like a real stiff or a thick petroleum jelly. A wax like that is really tough to protect, and a lot of people will actually just stop selling those type of candles through the really hot months just because there's really not a good way to protect against them or to protect against them melting when they get shipped out. The reason this is such a big issue is if you're shipping candles in a plane, they get really hot once they get airborne, and then of course when you're shipping, let's say Phoenix, Nevada, Florida, Texas, any of the real southern states, you're gonna get really hot. And when you're inside, or when your candles are inside of a UPS truck or a FedEx truck or anything like that, the mail trucks, anything, they get extremely hot. Some of the inside of a FedEx truck or a UPS truck gets well over 100 degrees sometime, and it's really tough when you've got waxes with low melt points. So what I wanted to do with this video is not only talk about the different things that you can do to kind of help protect your candles against hot weather like that, also do like kind of a demo video. And what I'm gonna do is I've poured 3 of these candles. This is just a basic 6-ounce straight jar. I filled it 3/4 of the way with soy wax, and the reason I use soy is because it has such a low melt point, and the reason that I only filled it 3/4 of the way is because I'm gonna put these in 3 different boxes, package them 3 different ways. That way I can lay it on the side. It's supposed to be probably 95, 96 degrees in the Seattle area today, so this should be really hot. I'm gonna set them in direct sunlight, so it should get a pretty good real world representation of a candle sitting out on a porch all day. Now, obviously going to certain areas, like I said earlier, Phoenix, 110, 118 degrees, it can definitely get a lot hotter than it is around here. But I kind of wanted to get this video out, and it's one of those rare days in this area where we're hitting above 90 degrees. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon right now. It's 90 degrees. By the time it hits 4 and 5 o'clock, it's supposed to be 95, 96. So I'm gonna go ahead, put these outside right now, package them up 3 different ways, and we're just gonna let them sit for a couple hours. Now, what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna put this one just directly on cardboard. It's just gonna be out in the sun, not packaged or anything, just so that we can see exactly what happens with a candle in hot weather like this. The second one and the third one I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put it in the normal box that I send all my candles in. I'm gonna wrap this one, I'm gonna wrap one of them in bubble wrap and then stuff it with packing peanuts. And then the third one, I'm gonna package the exact same way, except where I've got some insulated cooling bubble mailers. Now, I don't know exactly how well this is gonna work. They're supposed to help with keeping things cool. Perishable items, stuff like that, food usually gets shipped in a lot of these. So I'm gonna basically just drop one of these inside the packaging, and we're gonna set it in the box just like that to see the 3 different candles and kind of how they behave. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go downstairs, we're gonna get the GoPro, and I'm gonna go ahead, package them up, and we're gonna take them outside and let them sit for a good 3-4 hours. So that is it. As you can see, the sun is just blasting down here. It's probably right around, actually, let's see what it is. All right, so it is, I don't even know if you can see that right now. It is 91 degrees. It's 2:55. We're gonna let those sit. Definitely let them sit for probably, I don't know, at least 3-4 hours. Come back out here probably 4:30, 5 o'clock when it is really hot, and we'll see how they look. All right, it is just after 5 o'clock. It is 93 degrees out. So they've been sitting out here for, it's been a little, I don't know, probably 2.5 hours. The one, we'll go ahead and flip this around and we'll take a look. So the 2 boxes, this is an absolute nightmare. All right, so obviously a candle by itself. I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. We'll go ahead and unbox these and see what it looks like. Last one. So the glass one actually isn't too bad. Got a little bit of sweating going up there. Probably a couple more hours in the sun. That would definitely start to melt a little bit more. That one right there, pretty close to the same thing. You got a little bit of sweating in the top right there. So between those two, there's a little bit more without the foil, but it's not by much. All right, so that's pretty much it. You can see the first candle that we set out that was just on the pavement, didn't do anything. I knew that was gonna melt just because soy, like I said earlier, has such a low melt point, and putting it out in 90+ degree weather is just gonna make it melt all over the place. So obviously nobody's gonna ship a candle that's in that exposed of packaging. Even if you package a candle real loosely, you're still gonna have a lot more protection and padding around that, so that you're probably not gonna get a candle that melts like that. But the other two boxes didn't really show me too much. Like I said, like you saw in the video, the foil one had a little bit more protection with that one, but it wasn't really anything significant to kind of justify the dollar per foil package that thing costs. It's actually around $1.11, which isn't a huge cost. And it's definitely something that you could add into your line. And also another good example of why you need to price your candles properly so that you can absorb some costs like that. So if you're doing packaging, foil packs or anything like that, being able to adjust your prices to accommodate some extra padding, some extra prices and extra costs that go into packaging your candles properly, going to different states, will definitely make a huge difference. And what I mean by that is, if you've seen any of my other videos talking about pricing or anything like that, you know that if you have a candle priced too low, say like $10, when you start chipping away at that with something like free shipping or tissue paper that's branded, or the foil packs, ice packs, or anything like that, you definitely start to eat into the profit margin that you've got with the $10 candle. Whereas if you had that same candle priced up around like $16 to $20, you've got a little bit more room to play with some added costs like this. Now, this is definitely part one of this video. I want to do another one, and I've mentioned it previously, where I'm going to take these exact same 3 candles, not these exact candles, but I've got 3 more that I poured, the exact same jars, lids, everything like that, and I'm going to ship them to somebody who's in a very hot state. Something that will really give these candles kind of a run for their money, sitting in a hot truck for 2-3 days and then sitting on a porch for a couple hours. Now, this was a decent test, but it really doesn't simulate real world scenario. Now, obviously, it does a pretty good job. I mean, they were sitting outside for about 2.5 hours in 90+ degree weather, which is definitely going to heat them up. It's definitely going to show what happens in certain climates. But of course, me shipping a candle all the way to Texas, Louisiana, Florida, anything like that, where it's going to get 100+, it's definitely going to be sitting inside of a truck for a few days. It might even go through air transport, which is going to be really hot. So it's definitely going to see some temperatures that I just can't replicate in my driveway. So part 2 of this video will definitely be shipping all those candles. One fully exposed, one in the foil packaging, and then one with ice packs, which is what I wanted to talk about at the end of this video, which is another way that you can kind of help prevent some of the melting that can happen with those. If you go to a website like Uline, you can find ice packs in different sizes, so you would need to find the size that fits your candle. 3 ounce, 6 ounce, 8 ounce, 12 ounce, whatever it is. And then of course, a lot of people will ship their candles with an ice pack. It's not too bad of a cost. I was looking those up, and they generally run probably less than 50 cents, around, depending on the size you get, 50 cents, sometimes a little bit less depending on like a 6 ounce or an 8 ounce ice pack. Those will definitely help. You can buy one-time use ice packs. But the downside of that is if you're shipping to a place that's going to take 4 days to get there, something like from Seattle, Washington to Florida, that thing's going to be completely melted by the time it gets there. So it's definitely going to help a little bit, but it's still not going to protect you against kind of the weather and the heat that these candles are definitely going to meet at some point. But like you saw from this video, anything to help protect your candles in the warm weather is going to help. So whether or not you use the ice packs or just use the foil cooling packs, which are a little bit more expensive, or you just go with the regular packaging, there are definitely some things that you can do to kind of protect yourself and help them along the way so that they are a little bit more padded and protected by the time they get to the customer's house. And like I mentioned in the video earlier, there are some waxes that a lot of people will just stay away from. A lot of people stop selling the 4627 wax just because it's so susceptible to melting. Like I said, the consistency on that one is like a real thick petroleum jelly, so that one's going to melt very easily. Soy is another one. Coconut waxes, even some of the softer coconut waxes, are definitely ones that you want to stay away from. Definitely ones that you really want to protect. Whereas something like 4625, if you're selling melts, you really don't have to worry about that one. It's such a hard wax. The melt point is a little bit higher, so that you can ship that one and you're probably not going to run into too many issues at all. The 6006 is another one. The melt point on that one is around 145 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little bit higher, or actually quite a bit higher than the soy at like 124 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's still one of those ones. It's still a soft wax, so you want to be careful with it. But having said all that, this is definitely something that you want to be concerned about. There's a good 2 or 3 months, depending on the area that you live, where you're really going to have to be concerned with something like this. And again, this is where a lot of makers will switch over to a different type of wax, or they'll stop offering a certain type of wax to really avoid all this confusion and replacements and refunds, and just carry on with a wax that they know is not going to give them any real issues. So that's pretty much it with this one. I hope that was informative. I hope you got something out of it. Like I said, the part 2 of this one, we're going to go a little bit more in depth. I'm actually going to ship those to Phoenix, Nevada, anywhere that's going to be really hot, someplace that's going to sit in a truck for 2-3 days and definitely get over 100 degrees, just so that we can see what they look like when they show up to the person's house. So definitely stay tuned for that one. The other video I did today was on the All Seasons wax. I was working with their M12 wax, so I'll have that video out real soon. And I also got a new additive for wax that I'm going to be using in 464. Some of the waxes where it's a little bit tougher to get a scent throw from there. So the 464, the Joy wax, we're going to add this new additive to those. And again, that's an additive from the All Seasons Wax Co. So if you want to see anything in those videos, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll try to go through and add those to the next video so that we can kind of cover all bases with that. But in the meantime, you can follow me on any of these social media platforms that I've listed down below: Instagram, Facebook, my website, my email address if you want to reach out. And of course, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.